greatest thing that we underestimate is what we have. You know, I could have easily been like, well, I don't have this big digital, you know, and at the time we were doing that, you had to have hardware. So, you know, I could be like, oh, we didn't have this big old spaceship thing. We can't afford $500 mic, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know what I'm saying? I just use what I got. And, you know, they have, you know, I was using my grandma's tapes. You know, I was being just innovative, being able to do that. You know, so I think that's really what made me get more into it. And as you get, you know, go deeper into the rabbit hole to figure out how things work, he's like, oh, let me try this or let me do this. And then once I got to a real DAW and started to understand a DAW, well, let me get something that's a little bit better. Let me get a beat machine. Let me get, you know, a better microphone. Let me get, you know, all these different things that allow us to make a better quality when we do this recording.
Hey man, it's Georgia Gurt.
We on right now. We're back on the Georgia Gurt podcast. I got my boy Twiz in the room. And I wanted to interview Twiz because one, I know him for a while. And I always watched him and paid attention to him from everything he did in music, and then also the business that we did together too, also with beats and engineering and working with artists too on a collaborative process to finish, to send off projects. So pretty much, I don't want to talk too much. I want to let Twiz go ahead and give y'all the background of him. But I can tell you this, he's a music producer and he's from Savannah. And like I said, I know him, he's a good friend. So I'm gonna let him do the talking on who he is, because I feel like I'm under describe you, you know what I'm saying, as a person, because no better person can describe himself but you know. So go ahead.
All right, thank you for that introduction, man. It's an honor to be on with you, man, on your podcast, man. I definitely seen the growth as another fellow producer, man. So I'm very proud of the work that you're doing right now, man. And I'm honored for you to have me as a guest on your show. You know, my bad, I'm out and about right now. I have real-life situations when the kids got a pee-pee. But I'm a producer, audio engineer, music educator. I've been doing music for over like 15 years, man. It's been a good little minute since I've been doing this. Of recent times, you know, I'm a teacher, music teacher, and just trying to help the youth just understand how this music industry works and just help them hone their skills, because, you know, you hear a lot of these stories about how these artists have been over the past years, how they sign bad deals, don't know about the music industry and stuff like that. And we've been given the power of ownership. And not many people understand what that means. A lot of people just think that, oh, I get to own my own stuff, so I'm about to blow up and be rich. I have control over everything. But with much given, much is required. And a lot of that is to handle the business that normally a label will probably usually handle. And now us as individuals, as entrepreneurs, we are the ones now who have to do the legwork. And if you don't understand that on the top level, it's a situation. So, you know, I've been blessed to just being able to just educate and have a hand in how the industry is shaping up and the knowledge that's being passed down. So people can make sure they get their paperwork right. Because you don't understand, we can get a little bit to this a little bit later, but there is a company that basically was lurking, finding people who didn't register, because, you know, it's public information. You feel me? To check out to see if you on point or not. You know, so you ain't playing nobody but yourself. If you Josiah, wait a minute. Yo, wait a minute. Other side. Sorry, kid going in the women's bathroom. But you only playing nobody but yourself. Yeah, you ain't playing nobody. Come this way. Come this way. Thank you. You only playing nobody but yourself if you don't make sure your business is taken care of out here in this industry, for sure.
Okay. He also forgot to mention one big thing about who he is. This man was going up for the Grammys. He was Grammy nominated.
I appreciate that, man. I ain't want to jump off saying all that, man. You know, I ain't want to spoil everything up front. But yeah, recently I was just nominated for Music Educator Award for the 2023 Grammy Awards. I didn't even know if that was a possible thing, to one of my friends in the industry put me on. It was like, hey, you know, you could get a Grammy Award for being a music educator. I'm like, stop it. You're like, yeah, it's because of the music educators that is, you know, how people get to learn all this stuff. And so my school, basically, you got to get nominated first from like a school or organization, or somebody has to nominate you. And once they nominate you, you get your hat put in a ring with a bunch of other music educators, and they have several rounds for you to select who's going to be on the final ballot. We made through 2 rounds. I'll know the next set in September. Once September comes around, sometime September, they'll let us know if we made it to one of the next level of the picking stage. And then after that, it's the final ballot. So I'm anxious and nervous a little bit to see how that's going to play out. But just to be able to say I'm Grammy nominated in something that I'm passionate about, man, that's a blessing all in itself, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. I just wanted to add that in there, man. And we could talk about it more later. And I know you kind of went over it just now after, you know, put you on the spotlight. But, you know, I just had to put that out there, man. People got to know who you is at the beginning so they know who they dealing with, man.
Word. No, I ain't no scrub out here, man.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to get into some questions for you, bro. So pretty much, like, explain to people, like, where you're from and what pushed you into music. What motivated you to get into music?
Well, I mean, if you know me, you know, I'm from Savannah, Georgia. Been down there since I can remember. And, you know, I've always had a passion for music. I've been being around music since I was probably like 7. You know, I took actual like piano lessons for a little bit. And even after that, I invested in getting like a karaoke machine and ended up turning that into like a mini recording audio device by using like recordable tapes. And I used to put like the tissue inside of it's like 2 little square holes at the top of the of a tape. And sorry, it's a plane going over. But yeah, so I used to put the tissues in the top of that, which enable it to record over whatever has been recorded on the tape. So I used to do that to my grandma's Shirley Caesar tapes. So you can imagine me getting in trouble for that. Just finding out a different way to record, you know, the stuff that we used to do. And then, you know, back my first DAW, when I first was able to get my first DAW, I had Cakewalk. I don't know, many people may not remember Cakewalk, but Cakewalk is basically the original before they merged and they created Sonar, and Sonar went on to merge and be Adobe Audition, which a lot of people didn't know. But yeah, so that was my first DAW, and I didn't even have a condenser mic. I had like a dynamic mic, and yeah, so the audio wasn't the best, but you know, I first learned how to do, you know, how to create stems, and you know, audio level. I learned how to create stems and record people, and you know, that was really cool. You know, to be able to just record some people that's in my neighborhood and be able to be like a studio. You know, like everybody on the block do. That's where the studio was at. And yeah, so I've been doing that for a super long time. So the fact that I was using a tape tell you how long I've been working hard on this craft. And you get Donnie right there for me. So Appleton, come this way. And as far as you know, what I've been doing now, it's just really just been producing majority of the time. As a producer, how I feel like I've gotten better is that I've learned how to be an audio engineer. That's probably the best thing that I could have ever done. I ended up going to the Florida Institute of Recording, Sound, and Technology, aka the first school that's down in Orlando, Florida. Everybody thinks it's automatically Full Sail. Full Sail was the original audio educational platform that has been out for the longest time, but the first school came some years later, and that has grown into an amazing thing too, because when we first went to the school, it was just basically in a suite, and they had a couple of rooms with, you know, some classes and things of that nature, but it wasn't like a full-blown thing like Full Sail at the time that I went. And you know, so it's really grown in its own birthright to something that's like Full Sail. And the knowledge there was immense, because, you know, if you're in the music industry, a lot of times people are self-taught. It's not really hard to really teach yourself in the music industry. The way, especially now, they've made things so user-friendly that I could probably get my grandma, if she really dedicated herself 30 minutes to an hour out the day, she probably could make the simplest of a beat. But I digress. But what going to school helped for me was learn the science behind everything. Like, yeah, I know the levels didn't need to be this loud, but what was a reasonable like level? Why do we do it? Like, why do we use a compressor? What does a compressor do? You know what I'm saying? Like, knowing the purpose of every function that you use when you working in a DAW, that could change the dynamics of your mix. You know what I'm saying? It'll help you understand, because you don't know how many artists come to the stew and they're trying to describe what they want to engineer or trying to add like an effect. They're like, yo, you know, I wanted to go, you know what I'm saying? I know you had those artists that come and they be making them weird sound effects. And you know, they can't really articulate or basically communicate to you how to, they just want to stutter, or, you know, everybody, the independent artists, everybody call reverb. They be like, yo, I want that echo effect. Like everybody does that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not, you know, if you think about sound, and this is the geek in me right here, you think about sound, the echo is basically like more of a delay than reverb, you know? The echo is bouncing off from wall to wall to wall to wall. Just know how to communicate that to your engineer about how much a reverb is. It's not really an echo. If you really think about an echo is more so of a delay, because, you know, if you think about the scientific part of it, you know, a sound for an echo is bouncing off the wall, so you hear it until it fades out. So that's more of a delay, not really a reverb. But that's why I say, if you understand the reasoning of why things are, or the essence of something, then you'll know how to be like, oh yeah, you just want a reverb with a little bit of delay. You know what I mean? And I think that right there can help increase the quality of the music that we put out here today, if the engineer and artist knew how to communicate better.
Yeah, because all a reverb is a fast delay, like a very fast delay, but it's spaced out. So it just sounds like it's an open room. You know, that's how I describe it. Like you being in an open room with something blocking your voice. You know what I'm saying? But I want to go back just a little bit. So when you said, okay, you was using your grandma's tape recorders to record music, like what influenced you to do that? Like, was you around friends or family members? Was it because of them listening to music all the time or something? Or did you have musicians in your family?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've always liked music, and I think, you know, just being around like some of my friends, we used to freestyle and rap a lot. And you know, when you're young, when you're in your teenage years, you emulate a lot of the artists that are out like that, or out that are popping. So that's usually like your first inspiration. The group that I was with, the two other individuals, my homeboy Jay Riley and my homeboy Chris, we kind of thought of ourselves as like Bone Thugs and Harmony type of thing. Because, you know, they had like a little flash flow, and then I had like a little slower flow, but, you know, it kind of just complemented us well as we did it. So it just started out, it's not something seriously we took, but just something that, you know, we enjoy doing. And I always, you know, me, whenever we are trying to do things, you know, I try to figure out, like, what can we do to make it happen? Like, you know, I don't like talking a lot about stuff. Like, we could talk a little bit, but after a while, it's like, all right, if we really want to get this done, you know, what can we do to do this? And, you know, I started, you know, just playing with the karaoke machine that I have. Because, you know, the greatest thing that we underestimate is what we have. You know, I could have easily been like, well, I don't have this big digital, you know, and at the time we were doing that, you had to have hardware. So, you know, I could be like, oh, we didn't have this big old spaceship thing. We can't afford $500 mic, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know what I'm saying? I just use what I got. And, you know, they have, you know, I was using my grandma's tapes. You know, I was being just innovative, being able to do that. You know, so I think that's really what made me get more into it. And as you get, you know, go deeper into the rabbit hole to figure out how things work, he's like, oh, let me try this, or let me do this. And then once I got to a real DAW and started to understand a DAW, well, let me get something that's a little bit better. Let me get a beat machine. Let me get, you know, a better microphone. Let me get, you know, all these different things that allow us to make a better quality when we do this recording.
Yeah, my journey is kind of similar with like buying equipment, because there's some people out here that just buy equipment straight out. They just buy everything, and then they'll try to learn after the fact. But what I did was I bought just enough so I could start the process. of like recording, and I wasn't even initially trying to make beats at first, but that's another story. But I used like this cheap interface that was like $70 to record, and I had got like a blue microphone that was $200, and that's how I started recording. And I like the fact that you said that you have to work with what you have, and we underestimate what we can do with what we have too. I feel like that's a big gem right there.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you know what I mean? And you just, a lot of people that are coming out are just getting started. A lot of people that are trying to get in the game, they're like, yo, I got to buy the latest microphone. I got to buy the latest mixer. My thing is this: you go out and buy the most expensive thing, and you're not even doing yourself a service, because I guarantee you may buy the hottest interface, you may buy the biggest microphone, but I guarantee you don't know how to utilize it and allow it to work in the right way. Like, there's some good microphones, like ribbon microphones and stuff, but if you don't understand what the purpose of a ribbon microphone, the frequency ranges that a ribbon microphone picks up, you're not gonna be able to utilize it. It's not good for rap. You know, you may read a blog and say, oh, this is the best microphone, but you know, they don't really go into details unless you understand. Like headphones, like I just bought some headphones last year. You know, I can buy any headphones if I want, but there are certain things that the reason why it's created, and the reason why it costs that much, the materials, X, Y, Z of why you use these different types of equipment, you got to understand it, or you just wasting money. You're throwing money in the dark for no reason.
That's a fact, man. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah, I am a firm believer of starting off with what you can use versus just dumping money into it. And then once you become like, I ain't saying you got to be a complete expert, but once you feel like you know everything about it for the most part, then yeah, upgrade. Especially if you know, okay, I want to go for this sound. So that to me, when I upgraded on any technology, it was because I said, okay, I want to go for a certain sound. So now I know this technology creates this sound, so now I'm gonna buy it. That's the only time I really went and bought stuff. But other than that, I just started with what I work with. So I got another question for you, man. When did you realize, because you know you've been making beats first and recording too, so you kind of been doing both. So when did you realize that, hey, maybe I should pursue this seriously? Like, was there a time where somebody said, man, this is actually good music. This is good music. This is a good beat. I could actually see somebody rapping on it. Or was it just you? Was you just like, you know what? Because you got some people out here that just, man, my shit don't stink. I believe myself wholeheartedly. I'm gonna get out here and do it. I'm gonna make it happen. So how was that for you? You know, when you first realized that, dang, I could actually do this, you know?
I think where I really wanted to do this for real was probably high school, around my junior, senior year. I was part of a group called IP. You probably know some of the people that was in there in the group that went to school with us, but we ended up creating an album called Let It Be Known. We ended up doing like the whole shebang. Like we got like airbrush t-shirts, matching t-shirts, matching colors and stuff like that. And a lot of people knew who we were because we wore those shirts. And, we actually, like my friend, Wave, he ended up designing like the cover and everything. Like we had a CD jewel case. We had everything, we had the printed label on a CD. Like the presentation was dope for us to be in 12th grade. 12th grade really was a breakout because we had the whole presentation thing. We did like the whole shebang. Like we had pressed up t-shirts. We had airbrush t-shirts that were matching. Some of us got matching shoes, matching colors, and we all planned on wearing those like the day that the album dropped. So like the Monday we came in, we was like all dripped out, and everybody's like, oh, who's they? Who da 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 da? We sold the CDs for like $5 a pop. So a lot of people supported us. Some people bought it. Even after school, we had some in the trunk. Like we took the P route. Like we had some in the trunk, and everybody was responsible for selling X amount of CDs. And like, once everything was said and done, we made some couple $1,000s, from selling the CDs and stuff like that. So, that was just super impressive to be able to sell CDs for $5 a part to not even be a known group like that. You know, this has just been in our local community. We were able to make that much money. I think the downfall of that is we didn't know what to do with that money. You know, we kind of was just like, all right, here, everybody get their share. We split it up as equally as possible, and everybody had their share. And, you know, you kind of spent money the way you spent money. And, you know, but like, you know, and then, you know, on top of that, we had to learn about management because then one person had more access to the money than the other. You know, the normal group stuff that you would deal with. You feel me? So, you know, whenever you have a group, you got to really be organized when it comes to the administrative side. So we learned that like real quick. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have nobody really tell us how to manage that money. We ain't had nobody telling us, hey, use that for more promo, or use that to tour, or use that to perform in different places and stuff. You know, if we would have, you know, had the kind of guidance to push us in that direction, who knows what may have, you know, transpired from that, especially when, you know, we got jobs at the intern at the radio station XYZ. So, you know, it could have been much better, but I just knew, you know, as after your senior year, you got to figure out what you want to do for, you know, your life. You know what I mean? Your family's pushing school, but, you know, they don't, you know, as a parent now, I can see why, you know, they try to offer certain jobs, you know, go be a doctor, you know, go be a lawyer, go be this, go to school to be this, because, you know, a lot of times we as a community, and this is a whole, you know, another conversation, we can go deep, but we as a community feel like, you know, we just got to chase the bag, and rightfully so, because, you know, you can't do anything without money. You know, you can't be out here being broke, but to know that there's somebody that wakes up every single day doing what I love to do and getting paid thousands of dollars. I ain't even said millions. I'm just saying there's people out there that's getting paid thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, getting paid doing what I love to do. And, you know, I just want to be one of them. You know, I'm not saying I don't want a million or whatever. You know, if that opportunity comes to where I can make that kind of bank, for sure, I'm all with it, sign up. But you have to be realistic with yourself sometimes and understand that it's a reason why there's a 10% of the world makes X amount of dollars. It's a reason why that's a small window, because if it was easy, everybody could do it. But, you know, after doing that in high school, I was like, you know, I got to try. You know what I mean? I got to figure out how to make this thing work. And I officially did that when I went to school in 2008 down at the First Institute. And ever since there, I will probably say right now it's 2022. It took that long for me to figure it out to where now I can say I can wake up and I get paid a good salary to do what I love. I can decide if I want to do it or not. Like everything, my schedule is based off of what I want, not necessarily saying, hey, I have to have a schedule that controls my life. Like I make up my schedule now. And yeah, certain jobs, you know, being I'm a teacher, I got to report to the school during school hours. But during those school hours, I get to dictate what I want to do, what I want to teach, what I want to be able to give out. You know what I'm saying? So even though the time frame isn't necessarily, you know, I'm in control of the time frame, I still have some kind of control of what I do day to day. You know, that's what a job is for. A job is you got job, you got to report to your job. That's your schedule. That's your schedule. But not many people get a choice. A lot of people get told what to do. You know what I'm saying? Hey, this is your job. This is what you're going to do. From this time to this time, this is what you're going to do. You know, it's rare to have a job that's saying, okay, these are the hours. What would you like to do? What is your game plan? What is your game plan? What is your classroom? You know what I mean? What do you want to teach? You know what I mean? That's a whole different feeling. So I just never stopped. Sorry for going on a tangent, but I never stopped, bro. I just never stopped trying. There's times I wanted to quit, yeah, but I just never stopped trying to figure it out to where I can comfortably live, or to be able to provide for my family and be able to take care of my career too.
That's cool though that you and your friends, y'all knew the power of, y'all might have not even know what the word was at the time, but that was technically marketing. Like coming in and wearing the same clothes, you drawing attention to yourself, and then you presented a product. You get what I'm saying? So that was actually smart. And I always look at life like this. I feel like the people who were popular, right, in high school, I feel like they was good at marketing themselves. And even though they may not have known what they were doing, like really a lot of the people that we went to high school with that was very popular, they could have been really marketing experts. I believe, you know what I'm saying, if they would have kept pursuing it because they already knew how to garner attention, you know, especially if it was like positive attention. It wasn't like necessarily negative attention. Like if it was positive attention, like if there was an athlete or they was just that cool guy, especially if you're a cool guy, because an athlete, you putting in work, you playing sports, and then you maintaining an image. You might have a cool looking girlfriend or something like that might keep you up there. But if you just a cool guy, right? In high school, no, you're not athletic. You're not, you don't have any particular talents. Yeah. But you just that cool guy that everybody see you, they shake your hand, they love you, they know you. We know. The person I'm thinking in my head is this dude named PT. He was like that. So I feel like if you able to make yourself,
you told PTD,
Southside PT,
right?
Southside PT. Yeah, I feel like he was like that. Yeah, rest in peace, PT.
Hey, he was swaggy, bro.
Yeah, he was swaggy, bro. Like everybody knew who he was, bro. Like, and even to this day, like he still like people still think about him, even after he's been gone for so long. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I just think that people like that, they could have tapped in marketing in a more professional sense, or just been managing somebody else and say, "Oh, nah, that's not what you need to do. You need to do this," because they just had it in them instinctively. It wasn't like he had to think about it. He just knew what to do to garner attention to himself. You get what I'm saying? So I thought that was pretty smart. I always like applaud people who was able to figure that out in high school.
Yeah.
Man, I was playing games and I wasn't trying to be, I didn't have nothing to sell at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like I said, I always applaud people who could figure it out at that time, you know, in life. But I got something I want to say.
Go ahead.
We talked about all the good stuff. We talked about all your upbringing and how the power of being able to come together as a team and actually make money in high school, right? But let's talk about the times where it wasn't going so well for you, right? So what type of obstacles have you been through with this music shit? Because you're going to go through it. I've been through it. Everybody goes through it. So like what type of obstacles you come through that you dealt with dealing with music, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, so it's a few different things, man. I know there was a point in time where, you know, I just went to school and, you know, I was able to work in different studios and things of that nature, and then just find the clientele, you know, the consistent clientele that's willing to spend how much you're charging. You know, that thing is tough. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I have my customers where certain services where I charge a certain price, but after a while, you know, it's like, all right, it's not to the potential that it needs to be. Like I have to charge more. You know what I'm saying? Like I have to charge more if I want to eat. You know what I'm saying? If I want this to be a career. So building clientele, you know, producer wise and engineer wise, you know, it was tough for a while. To the point where, you know, sometimes when you don't have enough sales, sometimes it could doubt your ability. Like, you know, maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe my work doesn't sound as good as it is. That's why I'm not getting sales. But again, that shows you how big marketing is. You know what I mean? Because if you shop in your music, like if you like pop type beats and you make pop type beats, but you're trying to shop in the trap artist, you're not going to be welcome there, basically. You know what I mean? You're not gonna. You may get one or two, and that's just because they looking for a crossover record. But initially, they want a certain sound. And the thing about me is you know, I'm a versatile person. You know, a lot of my beats don't necessarily sound like the trap beats that you would listen to. You know what I mean? Like I have trap type vibes, but I usually use a lot more melodic sounds when it comes to my beats. So I had trap beats, I had trap percussion to certain melodies and sounds that you wouldn't normally think you could do that. And, you know, for a lot of people who's not open for that, you know what I mean? They're going to be like, oh, you know, they never call my beats trash. Like I ain't never had somebody say, oh, Twiz, that beat's trash. I usually always get, yo, that beat's fire, but it's not what I'm looking for. And, you know, once I heard that a few more times, you know, one of my OGs pulled me aside. He was like, yo, it's not that your beats aren't bad. They're acknowledging your beats are good, but they're saying that's not what I'm looking for. So that means the type of people I'm coming to is not what they're looking for. And to learn how to find that market, you know, that's a huge thing in itself. And then just understanding the business, you know what I'm saying? For me, you know, I'm business savvy now, but I took so many L's, you know, when it comes to this business thing, like understanding, like one thing I had to understand was seasons, you know what I mean? And what I mean by seasons is, you know, certain seasons when business was going pretty good, you know, I ended up quitting one of my jobs, like UPS Freight. I was a management in UPS Freight, making good money, you know, good benefits, you know what I mean? And, you know, when that season was going good, like for about 5 or 6 months span straight, where I'm bringing in, you know, big figures, you know, every gig, you know, and this was part with my media company too. When business was going like 6 months straight in a row, you know, every gig was looking pretty nice. You know, some of that was part of like my media company too, when we, you know, shot music videos and you know, event videos and stuff like that. But just overall, in general, the bread was coming in. So I'm like, yo, I'm now making more than I make working at a job where I work pretty much all day to bust my behind. And, you know, it was jumping from like maybe like from April all the way to around like the end of October. It was jumping. And then things start to slow down. You know what I'm saying? Not thinking that, yo, it's getting cold outside. People not spending money. It's the holidays. People about spending money to other stuff. People traveling, you know, not understanding that part. So, you know, having that pull up, and I didn't have any kind of safety money when the money was getting good, I wasn't putting it up like, hey, I need to put this money aside because in case I see hard times. No, I was living like the money I was making. You feel me? I was, you know, we go out to eat, family there. Don't worry, bro. I'll pull up the tab. You know, you want to be able like, yo, I'll pull up the tab. You know, they eating. You know, I want to get this. I want to get this nice thing. I want to get that nice thing. You know, I want to upgrade this. I want to upgrade that. I was living like how the money was coming in. And then when that money started drying up because the seasons were slow, I was looking funny. You know what I'm saying? And then you had to work like part-time jobs to make up for the money that was coming in because you done dipped out of your job. You feel what I'm saying? And people don't realize that reality. All right, buddy, I see it. People don't understand that reality. Being an entrepreneur ain't all glamorous as it seems. You feel me? Like they don't tell you about you are in charge of paying for stuff. You know, you in charge of making sure you got the supplies. You are in charge of making sure the lights are on. You know, you in charge of your money. So, you know, when I had to work a part-time job, you know, that kind of made me feel defeated because I felt like, you know, it's embarrassing to be out here working. I ended up getting a job working at Toys R Us. You know what I mean? I was embarrassed when I would see some people, you know, growing up, see me at Toys R Us. You know what I mean? Because they were like, you know, the last thing I said was I'm about to be working my own business. You know, I'm doing my thing. And so when they see me working at something like that, it's like, you know how people talk and, you know, you feel embarrassed because it feels like, man, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. But understanding those seasons is what really helped me grow to know, like, all right, I need to know when is the hot months. Like you have to pay attention to the trends. You got to know who you marketing to, who buys from you. Again, that's that marketing that pull back up again. Understanding who you need to shop to. Understanding who needs to see your stuff. Understanding who wants your stuff. That all plays a factor. And ever since then, you know, ever since I went through that drought and had to work like a few odd jobs, I was like, you know, I'm not doing anything else. Like, I don't want to do anything else. Even if I had to do an odd job, I want it to be strictly in my field. You know what I mean? I don't want to work at a Toys R Us, even though I value the time that I'm there and I appreciate my homie who hooked me up with the job there, Pat, you know, nothing but love. But, you know, that ain't what I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to do nothing else that ain't got nothing to do with what I love to do, which is music and audio and video production. Like anything that aligns with my skill set, I do. You know what I mean? And that's part of the reason why I ended up moving to New York. You know, I love my city of Savannah. It's cool, but it did not have all the tangibles needed for me to survive there for that market. Like that market wasn't gonna, you know, allow me to grow in the way that I need to. So I moved up to New York because it was an opportunity I present to myself. And I ended up landing in a sweet position where like legit, like because the industry up here is real big. Like I legit do everything that I want to do. Like if it's a headphone company, they doing audio sound, I'm there. If it's a company that's looking for, a producer, needs producing music, I'm there. Like, obviously I teach, you know what I'm saying? So literally anytime I walk out my door to work, it's in my industry.
Yeah, there's always something going on in New York. There's always so many opportunities up there. So yeah. So you had to move to get over your obstacle. Well, one of your obstacles, you had to move. And then a lot of it, what it sounded like to me was just a learning curve. Like you just had to learn pretty much how business goes, the seasons of business. Like every business has a season. Literally every industry has a slow season. Every single season, it never fails. It has a slow season and it has a peak season. And also, you also talked about marketing your music to the right artists versus marketing your music to artists who might have not been interested in the type beats you was making. So that's very important too. It's almost like with YouTube. When you make YouTube beats, you got to search the market. You got to look up the keywords on YouTube to make sure that you're finding an artist, because you could be making beats for an artist that's it's too competitive. He might be a popular artist, but it might be too competitive. But then you could be making beats for an artist that's not competitive, but then nobody's searching for the beat. So it's only like maybe 10,000 people looking for the beat in a month versus 1 million for like future type beats, So yeah, you got to be aware of that, man. Business is about all of that. It's about CRM, customer relationship management, all that stuff. And I feel like if you can master that, then you could do a lot in music. You could do a whole lot. But I see that I feel like you mastering up there in New York, especially with how quick things have been moving. Can you explain like how soon did everything kind of start rolling once you got to New York? And what was your first steps once you got into, working in New York? Like, what did you do first when you got there?
Yeah, the move to New York was it was crazy because I had no plans to move to New York. That wasn't even on my list. That wasn't even a thought process. And I found some of my gigs I found on Indeed, and there was this company that that I saw that was in New York looking for a music producer. I just shot my shot. It's like whatever. Yes, in New York, and I sent it. Well, about a few weeks later, they called me back and was like, "Yo, we want you to be, we want you to be the music producer of this company." It was like, send me your highlights and all that stuff too. So I sent them like a little highlight reel because I do more than one talent. So they hit me back. It was like, "Oh, you do video too? We didn't know that." So we actually looking for a media director. And not only that, I went to Savannah State for media production. So it was like a win-win all the way around. The job was just the company was just getting started. So that was, a process right there because, they were finalizing budgets and all that stuff. And so this was close to when my rent, where I was at, my lease was almost up. So we ended up staying with my grandmother-in-law for a few months because it was like, it's going to take a few months for them to finalize everything. This was close to the end of the year of 2018. And so they were like, bye.
And this was in New York City. You were staying with this person in New York?
No, this wasn't even New York. This is still in Savannah.
Okay, go ahead.
This is still in Savannah at the time. Yeah. This is still in Savannah at the time. Okay, you gotta wait a minute, okay? All right. Y'all go pick your blocks up. Y'all go pick your blocks up. Don't knock this over. Go pick your blocks up. Put them back in the bag. So yeah, we were still in Savannah. So I was staying with my grandmother-in-law, my wife and I, the kids and stuff. And it was kind of like a month-to-month thing. And then as the deadline came for us to move, the person who was hiring, they started to move a little weird. You know what I'm saying? They used to you know, they were kind of iffy about a lot of things. And, you know, it just was, you know, just what I wouldn't like how she was talking to like people, like she was kind of snapping. And I don't know if that was due to the stress of getting everything together, but she went from sounding respectable to sounding questionable. And I'm like, you know, I can't work for nobody, especially leaving away from my home, you know, to make sure that everything was like that. And that happened after we ended up putting a down deposit for the place that we were going to live. We paid for movers, we paid for a truck for our stuff to move. Like we already was like fully invested into this thing, this move. And then one day, what really set it off was the lady. I asked her, you know, basically about how the checks is going to look the first couple of months. I just need to know how to budget when we get up there. You know, I just need to know. And she snapped on me. She was like, "Yo, you know, you're not even here yet, and you're worried about checks and stuff like that." You know, and I'm like, you know, ma'am, you know, respectfully, you know, I got a family and I'm moving from out of state. Like, I need to know, you know, I'm never going to put my family in harm's way to be able to not know how much I'm going to make and not how my money's going to come. Because, you know, they already promised me X amount of dollars on the salary when we signed the contract. And so when they were saying that it wasn't going to be until like to June, and this was like, we're supposed to be moving there in May. Yeah, you got some. You know, once they said that we weren't gonna be receiving anything till like June, I'm like, nah, I can't. And the person's talking reckless, nah, I can't. And so, you know, that left me in a weird predicament because it was like, you know, do you stay here and chop it up as a loss, or do you just take a leap of faith and move, knowing that you ain't got no guaranteed job and everything is already paid for? And so, you know, we prayed about it. You know, I talked to my wife about it, and I was just like, you know what, bunk it. We're just gonna take a leap of faith and go. Because we done invested, you know, thousands of dollars into this move. You know what I'm saying? And so we end up moving May 2019. And it was cool, you know, at first because I still had my summer gig, you know, where I teach you know, youth summer camps and stuff. So, you know, that kind of held us over for the summer. But it was the fall that I was really worried about, because the fall I ain't have nothing. You know, once summertime gigs are done, you know, that was it. And, you know, I was luckily, I was able to pull some summertime gigs while I was in New York. So that was pretty cool too, to be able to do that. That just shows you how much things are going on in the music industry. So that was kind of cool. Fall got here and I registered my daughter into a school that was like 10 minutes up the street from my crib. It's a big building. It's like 6 schools in one building, but I didn't know that at the time. And so I went there, you know, because I only went there for my daughter. You got to go out there. I went there, registered my daughter, and then I came back home and I just was like, all right, I need to find a job because, you know, we up here, you know, money looking funny, you know, it was getting tight. Like, things were real tight, not being able to have a job secure. And, you know, I ended up going on Indeed and I saw an advertisement for, no, that's mine, leave it alone. I looked for an advertisement for a music teacher that was looking to build. I said no. I saw an advertisement that was looking for a music teacher and willing to help build a music studio at the school. I'm like, yo, that's right up my alley. So I catch the address and I paste the address into Google Maps. I look, I'm like, word, this job was like 10 minutes up the street. Put in the GPS, rolled up there. I pulled up to the same building that just registered my daughter in school, which was trippy. And so I walked in, I went to the place where I registered my daughter. I said, excuse me, I'm looking for this school called New Visions. And, you know, they're hiring for a music teacher. I just got here. You know, I'm a producer, I'm an engineer. I got X amount of experience, blase. And it was like, yeah, cool. It's upstairs. Let me take you real quick. We take about 2 steps in the lobby. And the lady looks at me and she says, it's your lucky day. The principal of the school is sitting right there. I'm like, get out of here. Like, that's wild. You know what I'm saying? So she takes me to the principal and, you know, I talked to her for a minute. I was like, hey, I saw on Indeed you were looking for a music teacher. You know, I just moved to the area. You know, I'm looking for a job. And while I'm saying this whole time, she has this look on her face. And I'm thinking like, oh Lord, I probably done talked too much. I done messed it up. She's like, I'm sorry. She was like, you stay where? It's like, I stay up the street, stay in Rockaway about 10 minutes straight. She's like, and you're a music teacher. I was like, well, not officially, but, I have the experience to be a teacher. I could be an asset to school, da, da, da. She said, this is crazy because the music teacher, the reason why the position was vacant is because the music teacher who was just there ended up moving to Alabama. And so she was like, that's like crazy how that lined up. Here you are. I thought this was going to be a position that I couldn't fill, right away. And so, I ended up working like basically for a freelance because they were just testing me out. I basically was doing check to check. Like I had to send invoices and everything. It was crazy. And this is why I was saying, knowing the business, thank God I learned that lesson about the seasons and stuff. So when those checks started coming in, I was putting money aside. I was making sure I was good. And but the thing is, I didn't know if this was going to be a permanent thing. And so we were just like building a studio, and it was cool. We started off with styrofoam, but ultimately ended up with like doing wood and stuff. I've seen some videos to show you what it looked like. After at the end of the school year, because the checks ended up lasting the school year, thank God. Because I didn't know if this was only gonna be for a few months, whatever. It's kind of scary because at any day they could be like, "Yo, we don't need you anymore." But it lasted for a whole school year, and at the end of the school year, they were like, "Would you like to work here? We can't technically hire you as a music teacher because up here in New York, you have to have a teacher's certification for you to teach." But they was like, if you come, we can get you in a role called operations, and basically we just operations just make sure the school flows. Like any teachers need anything, you make sure they have it. Any events they have, you setting up, breaking down stuff, like all that kind of stuff. You there if students need to like a T-shirt or whatever, you just make the school run. And I was like, all right, cool. I was willing to do that because that was a foot in the door, and I needed the job. And at the same time, it allowed me to really, work in the studio with the kids, which is pretty cool. And they ended up helping me get my certification a year and a half later. I ended up taking tests and stuff for me to be able to get ended up being able to get my certification, which that just happened earlier this year, actually. I got my certification. And right now they have two different levels for this certification. They have what is called initial certification, which is basically what your standard teacher has. And then they have what is called a professional certification, which means A, run the check, because this is a seal. B, and that I'm an expert in what I am teaching. So I'm working on that right now. By the end of the school year, I'll have the professional certification. So that's going to be amazing. On top of, being on that final ballot for the Grammys, you know what I mean? So like next year is about to be a really, really awesome year. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, man, that's a big ass turnaround, man. Like,
well, listen,
to go from not knowing what was going to happen to being a teacher at a school that your daughter, that you enrolled your daughter in, and to being Grammy selected or nominated. So that's crazy, man. Like that's being down, disciplined. God, that's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
So
man. and not even that, not even I have kids. You know what I mean? Everybody knows. Like right now, I have 5 kids, and I'm married. So just imagine the toll and stuff that went on my wife and stuff. Shouts out to my wife, Shanari, man, for holding me down. Because any other woman probably would have just dipped. Like, yo, you wildin', bro. I'm not about to dip anywhere without no security. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, she ain't even, when I told her, she may have had her doubts, but she never said it to me. And, and the cool thing about it is this year, I just signed an extension with the school because they, my contract was only for a couple of years. So, it kind of left us both an option. If it didn't work out, we'd be able to part. But I just signed an extension with the school. And the cool thing about it is the money that I got now with this new contract was more than what we initially moved here for. So it's like full circle,
Oh, okay.
Right now, just a blessing, to be able to do that.
And I know it probably was hard for the kids to adjust to New York, man. I be in New York all the time. You already know that. New York is, but if you never lived there or never been there before like that, bro, it's a different beast.
Listen,
it's a different beast, bro.
It's a lot you have to get used to it. Like you said, it was tough for the kids just because the culture up here moves way different than it does in the South. You know what I'm saying? Like up here, kids are more independent. Like it's crazy that 12 and 13-year-old, kids know how to move up here better than I did, and I was a grown adult when I first moved up here, and they could tell me how to get places, which is trippy. And to see my son, this summer, to see him take the subway by himself to go to some of his summer programs and stuff. And my daughter, she takes the bus and stuff. In respectable hours, of course. But for them to take it by themselves and know how to do that, all we did was ride bikes. You know what I'm saying? We rode bikes in the neighborhood. We ain't take no bus. We ain't take no train. So it's different how they move up here. But I think now, I would say this year, I think with the pandemic and everything, it really allowed us, I guess, a free time to really understand the communities here and how to move and how to operate, for sure.
Yeah, I think the pandemic really changed a lot of how you shouldn't be. If you're the same person after the pandemic, you haven't grown at all. Like the pandemic was so dramatic, and it was such an impact that you should be moving different after the pandemic. You should be better managing your money financially after the pandemic. It should be so much stuff you should be doing, but I feel like if you're a person who still moves the same way before the pandemic, I don't even want to be around you because it's you haven't grown.
It was too many opportunities for you to learn. For us, I would say I grew my network like probably 2 times the size of what it was if I had to just just everyday living, because there were so many organizations that needed to learn how to reach out to people via virtually. And that's how I ended up getting in more into Music Sync and knowing more about the Grammys and stuff like that, and learning more about how the business works. Like you had time to really dive into all of that. And I had some really big people in my contacts. Like I literally was just on a call the other night with the music supervisor with who did Stranger Things, and that was pretty cool. And she's also the same music supervisor that is working on John Wick 4. So, we had a meeting about that. So that was pretty cool to just see how that works and everything. So yeah, I agree with you, man. If you come at the pandemic operating the same, or trying to get back to normal, I'm not trying to get back to normal. You know what I mean? Like I kind of like this new world that we're in. The only thing that just sucks is just, some of my late night places don't be open no more like they used to. Other than that, other than that, man, it's just like, you gotta move differently, bro. And respectfully, it's kind of like for those of the people who already been on social media, for those of them who already had like a YouTube and stuff like that. I mean, you're probably in the best place right now. Just how we operate. But those of you who just not starting getting the game, you got a lot of work to do. So
you got a lot of work to do.
So
I think that a lot of people are going to have a lot of work to do right now because, one, you got to learn everything. Music business is so much you can learn. You could never stop learning this. You got to learn how to get paid. Then you got to learn marketing. Then you got to build relationships. So I want you to talk about how important it is to build relationships. And even with you getting this Grammy nomination, you had to build a relationship with somebody to even know that the opportunity exists. They don't just say, "Hey, everybody." They don't have commercials when they win a Grammy. Like you gotta be able to know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't. Like it ain't like no ad on the side of a bus. Oh, you want to be Grammy nominated today?
Yeah,
nah. So I wish talk to me about the importance of relationships, man, and how linking up with people that's on the same frequency as you, and also who needs more people like you. Because sometimes it could be an even for even swap. Like they might need more people to represent what they're trying to push out. Maybe they might get recognition on the back end. Who knows? But guess what? You still benefit at the end of the day. That's actually okay, right? So talk about how building relationships in New York, and just in your life in general. How much is it beneficial to build relationships, or just make your relationship transactional? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think there's a time and a place for your relationship to be transactional. And then I think it's most of the times it is important. Oh wow, it's a cricket. Most of the times it's important for you to have friends, you know what I'm saying, in high places. Anytime I go anywhere, I like talking to people. I'm a people person. You kind of have to be, because the way the world works, like some of the people who can change your life are people that don't look like it. So what I mean is the artist a lot of times is more flashier than the manager. You know what I'm saying? So the managers usually are the guy that's in there with the regular polo tee, some jeans, and some regular shoes. They may have on some J's, they may not. But it's all about building up your circle, because your network is your net worth. Like, that's not a cliche. Like, that's real. You know what I mean? That's real. Because you never know who somebody may be the next day. And I think to know people who are on the same frequency, you have to go to places where they're at. So going to conferences, going to events, going to concerts, going to the places where people take that craft seriously. That's where you're gonna find legit friends that can help you and benefit your career. You know what I'm saying? Even if it ain't nothing but like, for instance, our relationship. Like, if I have a mix of something and I want a non-biased opinion, a friendly opinion, but a non-biased opinion, I'll send it to you. The friendship we have, you could be like, Twiz, this is not only trash, but this is why it's trash. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I break it down.
Yeah, you feel me? And I may not like what you're saying, but respectfully, you're telling me maybe something that I didn't think about, or a different way that you know what I'm saying, that I could probably change it up or switch it up. And I know you own it too, you know what I'm saying? Because you got your brand going on and stuff like that. So I feel like I can communicate with you. I can't talk to somebody, and this goes to working too. Like, I can't work with people if you don't have your name registered, if you don't have your you don't have your copyrights in order, you don't have all that stuff. I can't work with you. It's not that I don't think you're a good person. It's just business wise, we have to move in a certain way, and 9 times out of 10 is quickly. You know what I'm saying? If we record a song today and it's supposed to release at certain time, we need to be able to, handle that process quickly. And so, you just want to, surround yourself around people who's on the same wavelength or a greater wavelength than you. And, one or two things is going to happen. You're either going to be either embarrassed or be like, stop talking because you self-doubt yourself, or that person is going to inspire you. You can't keep it. You can catch it and let it go. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like, it's cool to have, certain friends, and then have certain friends in different like markets. You know what I mean? Like, I have friends in New York, I have friends in Tampa, I have friends in Atlanta, I have friends in Savannah, I have friends in Cali. You know what I'm saying? Like, have friends in different areas, that may provide the same service. So for instance, one of my greatest network is barbers, because it's hard finding a good barber. I don't let people just cut my hair. You know what I'm saying? But any place I go, if I have business there, I know I'm good. So like, if I pull up in Palm Beach or Tampa, I got a barber that I can go to. If I pull up in Savannah, I got a barber I can go to. I haven't quite found a barber here in New York. My wife be getting down up here, but I haven't found a barber like that up here in New York. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and even though I'm an engineer, I have engineer friends that I can reach out to, because they have a certain way of mixing, or there may be some news that I maybe just learned that I can share to them, vice versa. And then now I learn how to incorporate that in my technique, and we good. You know what I'm saying? Have producer friends. If I get in a slump, is it somebody I can reach out to? Or if it's plugins that we want to get and it's kind of costly, we can split the cost, instead of it being like, oh man, now I got to pay $1,000 for these plugins. If it's 4 of us, I could put in X amount of dollars, you could put in X amount of dollars, you could do it. And then we can share, we could just, I ain't gonna say certain words, but you know, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You ain't got to say no more.
Yeah, you feel me? You know what I'm saying?
You ain't got to say no more.
People gotta understand it's a certain reason, it's a certain way these systems work. You know what I'm saying? And you know, the right way to go about that would be like, hey, the four of us, let's create an LLC. And that way, you know, it could be a network license instead of it being like, oh, we sharing the same license and now it's going to be an issue. If you have an LLC and you get a business license for that program, you can access however many people are staff with you. You see what I'm saying? Like you gotta
think smart.
Finesse it. Yeah, you gotta just finesse it.
Yeah.
And that's really what I feel like the connections work with, man. Like if your phone don't look like the Price is Right when you like scroll down, if you ain't got so many contacts, you got to keep an Excel spreadsheet. You slip it. And you slip it.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely should have a valuable contact list. Like you said, you should be able to scroll through your phone. Is like, which number I want to land on today. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Like the Price is Right. That's a good analogy right there, man.
Yeah, that's it, bro.
And the talk about the Grammy nomination. You said that one of your boys had put you on to it.
Yeah. So one of my good friends, he ended up telling me about it, and he was just like, you know, they have Grammys for music education. You can get like, you know, awards and stuff like that for like grants and stuff for teaching. And he was like, you should apply. And you know, I checked it out. I was like, yo, I didn't even know this is a thing. They got a program where you can, you know, basically have it. It's called Grammy in the Schools, where they can actually go into the schools. Yeah, they're good. Yeah, they is. No, they just want to talk to you because you're about their size. Sorry, that's one of my. See, I'm at the park. That's one of my students.
Oh, okay.
Can't get away from it. Can't get away from it.
Yeah. You're working when you're not working.
Yeah. So I looked at it, and then you know, at the Grammys, you had to be nominated for it. Like somebody has to nominate you for the award. And so my principal was like, sure, I'll go ahead and you know, I submit something. And so she did that, and then a few moments later, a few months later, I got an email saying, congratulations, you know, so-and-so nominated you to be in, you know, a part of this, and we'll let you know if you made it to the next round. And, you know, some time went by. I actually forgot. Honestly, I forgot until one day, this happened a few months ago. I got an email saying I was a semifinalist. And it was trippy because, you know, I didn't see it till later on that night. I didn't see it till later on that night. And I opened that up and I'm just like, yo, you know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna lie, boy, I started looking like the MJ meme. Boy, I was in there like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this is crazy. They're like, yo, you a semifinalist, congratulations. You know, and then I had to do like a video. I had to do like 3 videos. One video of me actually teaching in the class. One video of just basically what I do. You can check it out on YouTube. On Certified Banking 100 TV. You can see it's the very first video. You know, it's just showing what I do at the school and how I communicate with the students and stuff. And then we had to submit all this stuff in, and now we're just waiting until September. In September, we'll know if we made it to the quarterfinalists. I think which one's first, semi and then quarter. I can't even remember. Yeah. And then we get down to the quarterfinalists, and then after the quarterfinalists, whatever they have us do, you got the final ballot. And yeah, that's the part I'm excited, boy. I see my name on that final ballot, boys.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
Yeah,
it's a wrap. So pretty much, you're like a Grammy select / nominated in a sense, because somebody still had to like put you up for it though, too, right?
Yeah, no. The semifinalists is like once you make it to the semifinalists, I can start throwing that in my title. I can start putting.
So you're nominated.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm making sure because I want to put the right thing on YouTube now.
Yeah. You technically right now I'm Grammy nominated. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's what they tell you. You know, if you make it anything to like semifinals, you Grammy nominated. Now some people may only see, you know what I'm saying, if they're not aware of the process, they're gonna be like, you're not Grammy nominated because you're not on the final ballot. You know what I'm saying? But the final ballot is just the final, like you're down to the last
the last few people. Yeah. They're not gonna make a list of 100 people, you know.
Yeah.
And then say, yeah, this is all the Grammy nominees. Like they might do that on the website or something, but they're not gonna do that at the show, you know.
And it's on the website. They also did an article about the people who made the semifinals, and they're probably gonna do another article on their page once they get the quarterfinalists too. So it's really just
I didn't even know they had it on the website, but I would think they would put that on the website though. Like just business wise, it makes sense for them to do that. You know?
Yeah. Of course, more people, more traffic is gonna come.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so cool that you even got Savannah State to write an article about it.
Yeah,
like,
man.
What you thought about that?
Man, it was cool because it was like, you know, I've always wanted to just be one of those you know, I just wanted to be one of the people that people can look up to see that this is real. You know what I'm saying? This is a real journey. I feel like you need examples to where you see if it's somebody from your community and you see them do things. I think that says a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we see people, you know, make it to certain levels, and we're like, oh, that's nice. You know, we don't know if it's real or not. But if you see somebody from your community, they'd be like, yo, I grew up with him, or I know him, I went to school with him, or I see him, and then they reach a level like that. I think that's just great for the community and everything I'm a part of. Like every group I'm a part of, every, you know, every like organization that I work with, you know, the people that know me, you know what I mean? I feel like it does wonders for that community. So, yeah.
Okay, that's what's up, man. And Savannah State is not just a school in Savannah. Savannah State is a big deal because that's one of the oldest HBCUs in the country. So that's a big deal for Savannah State to write an article about you, you know? I could say some alumni, what's the sportscaster that's on ESPN? He went to Savannah State.
For sure.
I can't think of his name. What's the dude name on ESPN that be on there all the time? He's smoking his Black and Miles and drinking his whiskey.
You talk about Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp, yeah, he went to Savannah State. Taj Murray went to Savannah State also too from the sister. So this ain't no regular school, you know.
Yeah.
Locally, we kind of look at it as a regular growing up there because it's in our backyard. But to the rest of the country, it's a big deal, you know. So especially in HBCU world, it's a big deal.
For sure.
So I want to talk about your social media presence because you do that too. Like this man is this is why I said I can't describe you because it's so much. I might skip something. You get what I'm saying? So like just talk about your journey on your social media presence and how has that been going for you too?
Yeah, I had to grow exponentially on social media because that wasn't a big thing. I feel like I missed a big era, like, you know, around 2022 to 2015. Not 22, excuse me, 2012 to 2015. I feel like that's when the internet started really taking off. And it started really doing like really big things. But that, you know, I was finishing up school around there. So I missed when everybody started getting popping on YouTube. But it wasn't until like, you know, that downtime at 2018, I got it. Let go. It wasn't until about like that 2018 where, you know, I had to make something happen as far as, you know, finding a job and stuff like that. I was like, all right, I need to make this YouTube pop because, you know, people getting paid off YouTube and stuff. And so I had to figure out what can I do on YouTube to really, you know, just get my YouTube jumping and go viral or try to get some numbers coming in. All right, because beats wasn't just going to do it. You know what I'm saying? And so then I started doing like educational stuff. That's when I created the 5 minutes of Twizdom, because a lot of times when I work with artists, they have all these questions or they don't understand, or they'll be like, yo, you should be a teacher, or you speak motivation like a preacher. So I was like, all right, so y'all want motivation, y'all want basically music education. All right, bet, cool, I can do that. So that started to really jump. Instagram, my Instagram grew because once I moved, you know, my summer gig, I ended up traveling. You know, when I teach youth camps, we get an opportunity to travel to different places. So the first year I did it, I didn't really take advantage of that. You know, I kind of just reported to where I needed to go, and I went back to my hotel, and I kind of chilled. I maybe went somewhere around the hotel, but it wasn't, you know, necessary. The following year, I was like, there's no reason why I don't need to go exploring. You know, I get an opportunity to go to these different places, these different cities. I need to take advantage of it. So what I would do is I would schedule like a podcast every time I go out of town, you know, or I'll go to a radio station anytime I'm out of town. And then I just, you know, I go there, have them follow me, you know what I'm saying? Have them go create content, you know, and then that allowed my Instagram to blow up more because, you know, they want you to post consistently, but you have to be intentful though. Don't just post just to post, like make it intentional. Well, if you start doing things like going to a podcast, that's intentional. You know what I'm saying? Because now I'm promoting to a different audience. More people follow me from that. If I go to a hotel, I'm talking to the person at the counter. Hey, what's your Instagram? Follow me. You know what I'm saying? That jumped up. I'm at the airport. You know what I'm saying? I talked to one of the flight attendants. Hey, what you doing? You know, hey, why you flying? Hey, check me out. This is my Instagram. Follow me. You know what I mean? And once I started doing that, like my numbers jumped, you know, real high. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I'm knocking on the door. We're knocking on the door at 2,800. Now a lot of people may be like, oh, 2,800, that ain't nothing. But I don't pay for numbers. You feel me? Like I don't pay for numbers. That's all organic. That's all me going out, networking, doing things. And you know, one thing you'll learn is the numbers don't really equate to your success. The social media numbers, it's the quality of the numbers. Who are you getting to follow you? You got a bunch of bots, you know what I'm saying? Or do you got, you know, quality people? You know what I'm saying? Like I got big people following me. You know, my numbers maybe not 20K, but I guarantee you I have more quality people with my 2,800 than somebody with 20K if they're not like signed or whatnot. You feel what I'm saying? Like it's the quality of the followers.
Yeah.
It's the quality of the people you have.
No, I agree with that. It's a lot of bots on social media. And nowadays, you don't know who follow you. It could be somebody who's not offering nothing to you. You know, I like to talk about a few of your songs.
Apple 10.
So, my favorite song is Vibe Zone, man. Like I've been liking that song for a long time.
He ain't got his driver's license. You're not excusing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I was saying that my favorite song that I like from you, because I wanted to talk about your music, is Vibe Zone. I like that song. Like I don't know why, I just like it, bro. Maybe it's the beat and then it's laid back, it's chill, you know what I'm saying? And then I can relate to that, bro. I be liking to catch a vibe, you know. Yeah. And I ain't never made it. I never heard nobody categorize, oh, I'm in my vibe zone. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I thought that was witty. I mean, very clever on how you did that.
Thank you.
I listened to a couple of songs that I never heard before. I heard the Arts Chord song, but you know what? That's like your top song on Apple Music. But that's not my favorite song.
Right.
My favorite, like I said, Vibe Zone is my favorite song. I just listened to it forever. I didn't even know you had released that, but I listened to it. And Forever actually sound good, bro.
Thank you.
It really sound good. The mixing is good. The other guy that's singing on there, he sound good.
Yeah, that's my homie, RP.
Yeah, and the whole intent of the song is just a good concept. Anybody can relate to that. So I really think you need to promote that song a lot more because people get married all the time. There's a lot of people who's married. There's people in relationships that want to get married. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So all them people, that's your target right there. You need to promote that song, bro. And
I appreciate that. I actually dropped that song for my wife and I anniversary this past May. So that's what the song actually was for. But so we didn't really do too much promo behind it because like I said, we dropped it in May and then the summertime came. So like marketing wise, we were like, yo, ain't nobody lovey-dovey during the summertime like that.
Man, I disagree, man. There's a lot of people that's married. There's a lot of people that get married during the summer.
I probably that was just my thought process on that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have weddings during the summer. People go to like Florida to have weddings, and people have weddings like on like beaches. There's a lot of weddings just in the Midwest and up north during the summer because it's not as hot as it is down south. You get what I'm saying?
That's true too.
People are less likely to get married in the winter if they live up north because it's just so cold. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Versus during the summer, the weather's nice. You know what I'm saying? So I would promote that song today, man. Like as soon as possible. I even put a little ad dollars behind it and promote it, man. If you got a chance. Yeah. I like that Stole Christmas song, and that's very smart because that Stole Christmas song can be played every year. It's an evergreen content type song.
Yeah, because last year, we ended up getting 10K views on YouTube with that song, and we also got 5,000 streams on Spotify last Christmas season. So that's gonna be
no budget of marketing.
Yeah. So
you need to put money behind it.
Yeah,
because if you could do that with no budget behind you, imagine if you had a budget behind you.
We just dropped it. We dropped it. I mean, granted, it was crazy because we dropped it the year before that, but it didn't start taking off until last year. So hopefully this Christmas, it does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, I guess what you could do is just keep posting content around it and use the song and the content to get people like motivated again. I will post the music video on there again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Time Zone was a cool song. And what I noticed about your music is like you said, it's melodic and it's more laid back on a lot of your music. And I like the music that has the melodies and like the guitars and just a vibe. You know what I'm saying? And Savannah's not really known for a vibe like music. It's always it's like camouflage, nigga. What? You know what I'm saying? Like it's aggressive, you know. So it's like for you to make more laid back music, keep going with it, bro.
Thank you, man.
I always give people critique on their music at the end, and I just always tell them their songs that I like, and I say, hey, keep going with it. Keep going with that style, because I feel like that style is more you. Like the Forever My Love is more you. You know what I'm saying? Ox Chord is a good song. Don't get it twisted. But it's, to me, I'm not saying that it's not you, but it's too many people on it that I feel like took away the value of the song. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like you might need to put songs on, keep collaborating on songs that already works. Like the guy that you deal with in Florida, that song, the songs you do with him is pretty good too. You know?
Yeah, Jason, that's my dog.
Yeah, Jason. Yeah. Jason, when y'all collab, I like y'all music too. You know, and when you be creative and clever, I like that music too. Like Forever My Lady, you did it for our anniversary. So that was cool to even make it into that. You know what I'm saying? You tapped into your actual life to make that song. You know what I'm saying? So keep doing that, bro. I'm telling you, that's going to be the music that people are going to relate to, because you make music that everybody can relate to.
Yeah, that's the kind of music that I try to make. I try to make music that that's relatable. You know what I'm saying? You know, I had that spurt, you know, in high school where, you know, you rap about things you don't do. So like, you know, when I talk to my high school kids now, you know, I'm like, yo, I'm telling you, it's more value in music, doing what you know, what your life is, and sounding like you just hardcore person. What's up, man? You doing all right? Doing this hardcore thing, you know what I'm saying? Like it's to be the world capping, man. Like, bro, let's get back. One thing I do like about the 80s and the 90s and the early 70s is that, you know, they rapped and sung about their feelings. You know what I'm saying? Not trying to sound like those soft dudes, but you know what I'm saying? It's the emotion that drove it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can relate to that. You know what I mean? That's the kind of vibe right there that I be on. So
yeah, they made music that everybody can relate to.
Yeah. That's the win.
Yeah, that's the win, man. But yeah, man, I'm glad that you was able to make this podcast. I'm glad you was able to do it in the setting that you in too. You know,
Yeah,
but
man.
the audio wasn't that bad. Everything was pretty good. So I just say, man, just keep doing you, man. Keep grinding, keep working, and you gonna do it regardless because I don't have to tell you to do it. You get what I'm saying? So keep going, man. Keep grinding, man. I hope to see you on here again, just to give another update in the future about where's your life at in the future, you know. But like I said, bro, keep grinding, man. Keep doing what you do, and salute, man. I salute everything you're doing, man. And plug yourself in, man. Tell people where they can follow you at.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for having me. And my phone about to die right now anyway, man. But I'm going to holler at you, man. It was good to hear from you. Thank you for being a part of the podcast.
Plug yourself in real quick. Tell people where they can follow you at.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Twizzleman56. That's TWIZZLEMAN56. And also on YouTube, Certified Banger 100 TV. Holla at your boy.
All right, man. Salute.